Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. When it comes to prenups, don't just sign on the dotted line. Make sure every I do in that document is real and airtight. Today in the rLounge, always have your reading glasses ready. Sister-in-law banned me from the ceremony held at my house as I'd ruined the vibe. I locked the house and wrecked her life. Rant post. I'm fuming right now, so please excuse if my rant is all over the place. Context. I, 36 female, am married to my husband, Jason, 37 male, for 10 years. While everything else is smooth in my marriage, except my evil sister-in-law Bree, 31 female, that's what she calls herself. She's a real nutjob. Loud, obnoxious, narcissistic, really everything in the book. I'm not saying this out of hollow spite. She is a monster. So Bree has always led a comfortable life. No, she doesn't earn well or at all, for that matter. But because she is always dating some loser, rich enough guy to help her maintain her extravagant lifestyle. However, this witch, rather than enjoying her life in peace, constantly drags everyone into the mix, looking for ways to politely rub it in our faces. At family gatherings, in the middle of anything, she'd pull out her latest iPhone and say, "I can never breathe without having the latest one." Then pull out pictures of an apartment and show them to anyone around her and say, "Look at this. I'm renting it next month since my old one has become a little too stuffy for me." Before anyone would even respond, she would say, "I think it's a little expensive, but does it matter? My rich boyfriend can afford it." And each time she made such statements, she would stare at me or be loud enough for me to hear. It oddly felt like she was throwing shades at me for settling for less. I wonder if she realizes that my man is actually her brother. I thanked my stars when she moved out of state. Family gatherings were so much more peaceful. But now she's back in town, and this time she's become worse and insufferable. Apparently her boyfriend is no less than a prince with hordes of generational wealth and was just as obsessed with optics as Bree was. However, unlike her, who showed off her lifestyle, Adrian was more laid back. Dude was simply enjoying life. While this attitude pissed me off, I never felt jealous. Jason and I believe strongly that a good life was beyond money. It was about being happy, having the people you love around you, and most importantly, your health. I work as a customer service agent for a popular holistic goods company, while Jason owns a small IT business. It's growing slowly but consistently, and he keeps a decent roof over our heads, which I'm grateful for. A few weeks back, she made a Facebook post with a picture of her left hand and a ring on, lying limp with her boyfriend's properly groomed palm. She tagged me and 30 others for the post with the caption, "Wasn't expecting this, but I said yes. Sneak peek at my 20-carat diamond ring. Now that's a luxury they can't afford." I knew right away that this post was an indirect jibe at us, but I simply scrolled past, not wanting to afford her the luxury of my attention. The next day, she made another post, letting the whole world know that she'd be having a proper engagement party in 2 weeks. She tagged most of our family and friends under the caption, "My baby will be throwing me a grand party to ask me to be his wife. If you're seeing this, then the party is open to you. Just kidding. You'll need an invite first, huh?" I just sighed and moved on. Lord knows why she has to make such a fuss over everything. I really didn't expect to be invited. Apparently I was wrong. Bree called me on her house phone 2 days later, asking if I hadn't been seeing her posts. I responded that I was busy, and she sighed, "Yeah, busy making ends meet. I can't relate," before breaking out in an evil cackle. I scoffed and ignored her. She went ahead to ask me to be a part of her bridal train for the party. I was surprised that she wanted me to be a part of her entourage. Not that I was delighted by her gesture. Moreover, I got confused and suspicious of her intentions. More than that, she invited me for dress fittings and said, "Don't worry about the money. My boyfriend will pay for it." As she spoke, I felt my blood boil. So it was about rubbing her lifestyle in my face. I didn't even want to be a part of the whole thing. I hung up, saying I'll see. 2 days later, she showed up at my door unexpectedly, all glammed up as usual. The moment I answer it, she started whining. "You guys don't even have a parking lot or a canopy outside. And just like me, my car is not used to being in the sun." I asked her the reason for the sudden visit, and she said she was here to meet her brother. I called for him and went back to the kitchen. Jason came out, and she hugged him as if they hadn't met for ages. She acted all so sweet with him, a completely different version of her original self. Jason knows her very well. He asked her the reason for her visit, and she giggled, but before coming to the point, she danced around the topic of how her boyfriend was the one footing all the bills, and her own family was doing absolutely nothing. She even said out loud, My family's not even fitting the vibe check. Jason asked, what does that mean? She shrugged it off and reached into her bag to fish out a piece of paper containing all the list of things yet to be covered. She read them out slowly, then stopped on venue and goes, yes, you can help with the venue. I could hear them talking from the kitchen, and the moment she said this, I got alert and listened carefully. Jason was silent when she talked again. I was wondering if you could lend your new house for my engagement. For context, Jason and I bought a house a year ago. We'd been eyeing that property for years and saving since we got married. We were waiting for his business to turn around, and last year, he onboarded a big IT company as his client, and the first thing he did with the profit was to book our dream house. It's a beautiful property with a big lawn and a parking space. We are renovating the interiors as per our taste and planning to move in next month. Hearing about the house, Jason called me and she was like, oh, can't you make one decision yourself? He said the house was ours both, and I have an equal say. He needs to check if I was okay renting it to you before we move in there first. She was like, that's the point. You don't live there, and I can decorate it as per my vibe. And by the way, it's not rent. Obviously, you cannot take money from your sister. I stood there listening to her dumb self talk. Jason looked at me. God knows what he was expecting from me. Meanwhile, this witch goes, so can I use the house or not? She wasn't even asking. I subtly replied, didn't your rich boyfriend rent a villa? Oh, I thought he was rich enough to rent a place for you. I was about to add, oh, I suppose he's running out of his pocket money. Ask him to run to his dad. But I held myself and tied my tongue. My response burned her severely, and she phoned father-in-law, telling him that we are not giving our place, so now it was his responsibility to find her a venue. I think he resisted, and she threw a fit that, as the father of the bride, it's his responsibility to bear the venue and at least half the expense. It was like, I'm not asking you anything, but can you talk to your son and your daughter-in-law? With a scorned face. Within seconds, I got a call from him. I declined and texted him that we would be lending the house for the function. I didn't want him to plead in front of me. I'm raised very well. So, all set, she leaves with a whining face, asking me to show up for the dress shopping, thanking Jason, not me. Initially, I thought to decline the invite right away, but she doesn't deserve a courtesy, so I decided otherwise, to stand her up. Yesterday was father-in-law's 60th birthday, and mother-in-law threw a huge party. Jason was out of town for work meetings, so I showed up alone. Things were going great until it got late, and the in-laws were waiting for Bree to arrive so that father-in-law could cut the cake. After making everyone wait for nearly 2 hours, she arrived in a flashy new car, wearing this flowing silver sequin dress that took all the attention off the real star of the night, father-in-law. She made sure that everyone noticed her dress and the new car. Even if someone didn't ask, she would exhaust them with the talks about her rich boyfriend and, of course, her 20-carat diamond ring. I ignored the buzz and enjoyed the evening with others. I was just about to finish my last drink when she approached me, snarled, and plopped herself lazily onto a couch, saying, for a woman who hasn't been able to conceive in decades, you sure look like a mother of two. I was flabbergasted at her remark and shot back, how dare you? She wasn't moved and said, you know how I wanted to have you on my bridal train? I think I've changed my mind. You should sit this one out. You'll just destroy the aura at my party. Hell, you'll ruin the whole vibe. I flipped out, not because she dropped me from her fairy tale engagement, but because how dare she comment on my body? I was an inch away from slapping her, but I held back and said I wasn't interested either in being part of a crap show. A few relatives had their eye on us, and Bree suddenly softened her tone and said, it's nothing about you, okay? It's just, there's an image I'm trying to create with all of this. You're a little too fat for it now. I just walked away without wanting to create drama and ruin someone's special day. I could hear her say, come on, just look at yourself. Even the dress you have on right now doesn't look good on you. Who's to say my bridesmaid's dress will? Your bloated face just won't fit well in the grand picture. I wished I had punched her in the effing Botox face and beat the crap out of her. I called up Jason while still on my way out and ranted about what just happened. He immediately called to caution her. I don't think I've ever seen Jason that angry. He threatened to cut off ties with her if she ever crossed me again. He also called his parents and informed them about this. Father-in-law called me and asked me to come back and he would make her apologize. I said I was in no mood for an apology, respectfully. This whore had the audacity to insult and body shame me, who was sleeping around with guys for money. I'm more pissed about the fact that we let her have the engagement at our new house. Call me vindictive or anything, but I really cannot bear that. Will that be too much if I refuse to have her function in my house? The event is in 3 days. I'm slightly conflicted. You're not being too much. You're not vindictive. You're protecting your peace. This is your dream home, something you and Jason worked hard for. It's not a backdrop for someone else's social media moment, especially someone who can't treat you with basic respect. The fact that she insulted you and still expects you to use your space is just delusional. If it were me, I'd let her know the house is no longer available and leave it at that. She can spin it however she wants, but at the end of the day, you're allowed to set boundaries. And if anyone questions you, you can simply say you didn't feel comfortable having the event there given the circumstances. No need to defend yourself further. Update 1. Oh, I was overwhelmed with the response. Didn't expect it to turn heads. So after ranting it out here, I still had a lot left inside. So I showed up at my best friend's and announced. She was having her girlfriends over. Still called me in, and I ranted about the whole stuff, cursing and talking about Bree's Botox face and duck lips, fake lashes and eyebrows. All the women here would relate that if we cannot abuse someone on the face, we'll put out her pictures and abuse them all along with our best friends. I was doing the same. You won't believe what happened next. My friend's girlfriend, okay, let's call her Mona, who works at a hotel, took my phone, zoomed into the picture and goes, "Hey, she's our regular customer. She always comes with this lawyer guy." I showed Bree's fiance's picture to her and asked if she comes with this guy. And she goes, "Nah, a different guy." I was like, "Do they look like friends?" And she sighs, "They spend the evenings together in a room. You can guess what they are." I was drunk the whole evening and she said this. I came back to my senses. Honestly, I was happy. I didn't know what I'll do with that information, but I was beaming with energy as if I'd solved some complicated puzzle. So this witch was cheating on her rich, dumb boyfriend. I requested Mona to get details of the guy. Just the name would work, and also, almost, pleaded with her to get the pictures and videos of them. Initially, she was hesitant because the hotel is visited by rich people. And if the manager gets to know, she might lose her job. I promised that her name won't come up in any of this. Then I came back home and slept like a baby. Don't know why. I wasn't hopeful about getting the pictures because she was getting engaged in 3 days, and what chances were there that she would meet this guy again at the same time when Mona would be around and she would be able to take the photos. I didn't count on her much. However, one thing was clear in my head. I won't let Bree get engaged in my house. She can do whatever she wants elsewhere, not in my place. I told Jason about my decision and he agreed with me. He asked me to inform her about my decision, but I refused. He still called his parents to tell them that I didn't want to give my house. They asked for the reason, and Jason told them everything. Father-in-law took Bree on the call and asked her to apologize right away. Jason, father-in-law, and she was on the call, and she had the nerve to say that I was too mommy-ish, and my looks don't match the aesthetic she was going for. She said she would have asked me to tone down a bit in the gym, and even maybe dye my brown hair blonde, if the party wasn't just days away. So, it was best I sat it out. Jason insisted she take her words back and apologize. She hung up saying no. I told him I'll handle it my way and that he shouldn't interfere. He nodded. I know he won't. He's too busy with his business to get into these petty issues. 2 days before the engagement, my friend and I drove to the house. I just couldn't imagine having her at my dream house. We called the locksmith and changed the lock on the house. Note, Bree already had the key to my house. She took it in prior to getting it decorated. Just the evening before the engagement, Mona texted that Bree was at the hotel again with that guy. I didn't force her, but requested if she could take one picture and maybe get the guy's name. She reluctantly clicked one picture of them when they were walking inside the lobby, engrossed in each other. She also pulled out the reservation details and got his name. I looked up and found he was a lawyer in Bree's in-laws' firm. Anyways, on the day of the engagement, I went to the house, opened it for the event team and decorators. Left the door open because we haven't shifted yet, so no worries about theft. The main function was supposed to take place in the lawn, while dinner and post-events hangouts would be inside the house. I asked the planner guy to get the interior done first. Once it was done, all the staff went outside to take care of the outside decorations. When it was time for the guests to arrive, I swiftly locked the door. If the decorator needed something to fetch from the house, they would knock or ring and I would open the door for them. They didn't suspect what was about to happen. I pulled down the curtain of all the windows, except one. I sat behind one of the windows and sneaked through the closed curtain and watched the fun. At 2 p.m., my in-laws showed up. They were the first ones to arrive. When they found the house locked, they looked through the open curtain and saw that the house was already decorated. Father-in-law asked the planner for the keys, and he was informed that the lady of the house has locked them. They thought he was talking about Bree because they knew I won't attend the event. I heard them saying that it might be Bree's plan to unlock the house for the post-engagement dinner and activities. They sat outside, watching over the decorations on the lawn. As time went on, the guests gathered. Everyone sat outside, as the setup also suggested the same. The planner seated everyone, almost at 4. Bree arrived with her train of bridesmaids. I don't know in which culture they have bridesmaids at engagements, but yeah, she was having them. She directly tried to unlock the door to drop the stuff that they were carrying. She used the key she had to unlock it. Called the event team to ask about the locked door. They said the house owner has locked it. She was like, "I'm the owner." The guy said, "No, there was another lady here." Bree understood it was me. She called Jason to report about the incident. He said he was in an office meeting and didn't have time for this. Soon, her boyfriend arrived with his family and friends. And boy, did he freak out so badly. In-laws were embarrassed. I felt bad for them. But sorry, I cannot let their daughter walk over me for their sake. Bree insisted that they have their engagement outside as per the plan, and meanwhile, she'll figure out the keys to the house. Her boyfriend screamed at how somehow someone else could lock her house. Wow, I laughed so hard hearing this. Before locking the door, I had placed a water pipe in the backyard which was connected to the tap inside the house. I swiftly opened it and let the water flow outside. Within minutes, the lawn became damp and then flooded. The guests walked out and stood on the driveway. Someone suggested they break the door with a hammer. Her boyfriend and some other guys started to break open the door. That's when I unlocked and everyone was shocked. Bree pushed everyone and came to me and literally placed to keep my mouth shut and let them continue with the event. I said, "Sorry, I can't help someone who's insulting and humiliating." Her boyfriend's parents walked in and asked if this was my house. I said yes, and she wanted to use it by cutting me off of the event because I was too ugly to fit in. Everyone around was shocked. I locked the house from the outside and started to walk out. My in-laws came to me and requested that I let go of the past and bail them out. I sincerely apologized to them and, before walking away, handed her boyfriend a printed copy of the photo Mona had sent to me. I said, "You might need to investigate why your girlfriend is visiting a hotel with your lawyer." The photograph said enough. I just walked away gracefully. Yes, a naughty part of me wanted to stay back and enjoy the fun, but I'm a graceful woman. It goes without saying that the engagement got called off. I saw from the front camera installed outside my house that her boyfriend's parents were the first ones to leave with a disgusted face. Bree tried to stop her boyfriend, but she shrugged her off and walked out with his friends. In-laws sat there, devastated. Bree was crying and yelling at them. Then they stood up and walked out without acknowledging her. She called up Jason, crying and informing him that I wrecked her life. He said she should have thought of that consequence before messing around with me. Since then, it has been silent. No social media posts, no calls. I do feel bad for the in-laws. With all due respect, they didn't do a good job raising Bree, hence they are suffering. Mona casually dropping the, "Oh yeah, she's a regular at my hotel," with another guy? And the way you slept like a baby after hearing it? I felt that in my soul. It sucks that the in-laws got caught in the crossfire, but she tried. Bree made her choices and she dug that hole herself. I mean, trying to erase you from your own house because you didn't fit her aesthetic? Nah, she got exactly what she was trying to do to you. Just turned back tenfold. Update 2. Hi everyone. It's been a while since my last post. I have some news and a brief update. Bree's engagement was called off, obviously. Not only that, her boyfriend sued his lawyer for breach of fiduciary duty and accomplice to fraud. It came out that Bree had manipulated him to forge the prenup in exchange for sexual favors. They were also planning financial fraud together. Her boyfriend actually reached out to me and thanked me for saving his butt. He didn't turn out to be the loser that I used to think. He fell for her manipulations. She lied to him about everything, her job, about owning the house. He offered us a holiday package to the Maldives as a gesture to save him, but I humbly declined, not wanting to be dragged into this saga. Jason and I moved into our new home about a week later. The decor meant for the engagement was truly too beautiful to go to waste, so we used it for our housewarming party instead, and invited everyone but Bree. In-laws politely declined the invite, saying they were not keeping well. I realized that they didn't want to face friends and family after the fallout. Oh, and it turned out Bree was right about something. I truly was getting bloated, and you know the reason? I finally conceived, and now I'm in my second trimester. I'm prioritizing my physical and mental health over everything else. Jason and I are focusing on building a happy home for our baby. The way he stood up for me, I'm certain he will be a great father. Thanks for putting up with me. I'll update if anything progresses. Congratulations on the baby in the new home. You and Jason clearly have a strong foundation, and this little one is coming into a household full of love, resilience, and the best mom ever. Wishing you nothing but peace, health, and happiness moving forward. And if Brie ever dares to resurface, I hope she knows better than to mess with you again. What's the most satisfying I told you so moment you've ever had? Share your stories with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.